point out one more here too. This CompuCron, which we picked up a bunch of cheap watches. Well, it wasn't a bunch of cheap watches. We picked up about 30 watches in a big bag lot for $10, and about half of them were really cheap watches.
Like junk.
Yep, but I did see a couple in there, so that's why I picked them up. This one I thought was going to be a cheap one, and I've actually seen a couple of these before, I think. CompuCron. Apparently this is made in Japan. It seemed actually pretty high quality. In 1976 is one of the earliest digital watches, so it's actually a pretty good one.
So shoot me a range, you think. The Crazy Picker Life with Wheeler, Dealer, and Banana Peeler. Good afternoon, fellow pickers, would-be adventurers. If I could talk, I'd tell you this is Dealer with the Crazy Picker Life, having trouble with the lips. All right, heading to USPS. There's the load, give or take 30 plus a couple UPS. Now, today is Monday, and we did some picking over the weekend. Actually, mostly on Friday, and a little bit of cleanup and some extras on Saturday. We got everything organized to do a show and tell haul video, talk about what we found a little bit. We're gonna do that tonight, our time. And so I'm gonna go USPS, take care of a lot of home things and supper. See if I can finally get my Schwann's order, since Schwann's guys have been dodging me. You would think they would want to deliver a $400 order, but I guess they've got their problems. We had a couple guys when I was doing Schwann's that some of their bad days, they would come in with their tail between their legs, and they wouldn't even make $400 all day. And here they could just stop once. Sometimes out here, people are quite leveraged and businesses are quite leveraged, and it's a little bit like pulling teeth to get what you need. If you're in the eBay business, you don't want to be like that to your customers. There's too many competitors. You got to be smooth and ship fast, and your boxes got to look decent and open well, and your stuff's got to be good, or as described. Oh, I did something the other day. I got to look back every once in a while. I am leaving my back of my vehicle open to take videos, or sometimes I leave it open to load things. I found myself driving down the road with my hatch open. I'm thinking to myself, oh my goodness, old age is setting in, Dealer. Shake it loose, shake the brain up, whatever you got to do, get it going. Alright, so the next time you see me, unless something really cool happens, we're going to show off our goods from over the weekend, and I'll get Wheeler in there and we'll talk about what we found. See you in a minute. Okay, so basically we did about one full day of picking, and then Saturday we did pick up some things, but as with most events, including rummage sales that go a couple of days, with all the pickers out there and professional pickers, by Saturday the pickings are slimmer. Now, we did actually pick up some pretty good stuff on Saturday. I'll try to point some things out if I can. So persistence pays off. We also had some weather conditions and all that. So I just want to show you something first, and then I'm going to get Wheeler's overall impressions. I think we did pretty well. I like some of the stuff that we got, and I think we got a couple of things that are really neat. So hang on. So I got this, I don't know how well it shows up. It's a dark only sign. Got this Zenith sign. And it has a technology in there, some sort of laser fiber optic thing. And then it has a bulb that shines on something and reflects into there. So it's an early attempt at that. I don't know when this sign came from. It may not be working 100%. I'll have to look it over a little bit, but because the color doesn't seem to be coming through. Super colorful.
Yeah.
although it does seem to work. So I'll have to pop the back off and see. I've had a different sign like this, a beer sign, that I thought was super cool that only sold for $240 plus shipping or something. I got this for $50. It might even have better appeal than a beer sign. I don't know. Let me turn the light back on and unplug this thing, and I'll have to look it over before I sell it. $50 I think is fair price. If I can't triple my money on that, I don't know. Okay, Wheeler, what do you think about our picking here?
Looking at my cool pocket watch here, but nah, we picked up a lot of different stuff this time. Some pretty good camera stuff, and to kind of try to break into the watch market here a little bit. So I guess we'll see how that works out.
We had low expectations, and we're looking mostly for fun. I mean, we never like to not pick up a bunch of good stuff.
Yep.
We're not afraid to fill the van if we find stuff. And so, you know, all it would have taken is one stop with everything we wanted, and we would have bought it all. But
yep,
we'll be happy with what we get. Okay, I'm going to give you an overall shot here, and then we'll just start on one end. So the chute is full. It's not crammed full like the last Supra pick, but definitely some good things. Why don't we just start down on the end here, Wheeler?
Okay.
So a lady made you take these encyclopedias of photography in order to get some other things. She said you have to take that. So
if I ever come up with kind of like a camera room with a bunch of shelves of cameras, I'll have those on a bookshelf. Along with some other, I have a bunch of manuals and books and stuff there.
So much stuff is on the internet these days, but that'll have some.
I mean, just for visual appeal, they're kind
pictures.
of cool.
Well, yeah, they weigh like 700 pounds.
I mean, you put them on a shelf though as a display, because I have 2 totes of books like that are cooler ones than those.
You know, I like you as a son, but you're a hoarder.
My display, man.
Yeah, display a camera. You don't need to display.
I have a bunch of,
especially if you're not going to read them. Okay, so you know, whatever, man. You're a hoarder. It's okay.
Yep.
So some more of these boxes, right?
Yeah.
There's a rare one you said with the nitrate.
Most of those aren't that great, but there's a couple in there. The Eastman Films, since it's filmed, I'll go for a bit. This one I haven't looked up yet, but Eastman Portrait Films Nitrate, expired 1934.
That's the exploding stuff, right?
It's the post-exploding stuff. It's after they invented the thing that didn't explode. So this is the non-exploding. Right. All this is exploding.
No idea on the money. I'm not going to say anything.
Yep, nitrate was the early name for safety film, and then later just normal film is what they called it, because they didn't have exploding film anymore.
So do you think there's a market for the ones that are not that great, like in a lot?
Yeah, in a lot for sure, but it's photographic paper, it's not film. Any film boxes are worth buying, no matter how plain.
I see. Okay, so Olympia signs. I had a good one that was actually a lighted sign with a guy with a beard on it that went for a couple $100. This one is not lit, does not light up, but I got it for $5 and it's got a neat scene on it. You know, I don't know. It's going to be worth my time. I can't imagine it selling for less than $39.99 plus shipping.
No, definitely not.
Did a couple of bundles on things. I got this Budweiser Fun Cloth, which I sold before for $20-ish. This is a Coors blow-up can. These are new in package, inflatable, and I believe that's a blow-up bush fish, which I've had before. All those are sort of long sell, but you know, $20, $14.99, $14.99, something like that. Storage cooler. This is a good one. This thing is in nice shape. It needs a little cleanup. It's got a little rust or corrosion on there. The bottom's decent. The actual paint on it and the logo are just sweet. So somebody that wants a real nice showpiece. I paid $100, and I got a couple of banners which I'll show you thrown in. That's a $200 plus piece, I'm almost positive, especially in that condition.
Yeah.
Somebody, there's a lot of them out there, but there's not a lot of them in that kind of condition. All of it's there. Made by Pabst.
I was odd that it's made by Pabst and not just Pabst.
Yeah, you always wonder if people spray paint and make these things, but it's a real one. And what I like about it, 2 things. I don't like that the bottom's rotted out, but it does have the bottle lattice work in there.
Oh, I see.
And then it has a date over there, number 1-1917. So 100 years old, and that makes a good title. So I think
not the 1940s. It's a 1970s.
Let me think what I did on that. I can't even remember what I paid. I think I might have said in another video. Yeah, I think 30.
Yeah.
And it'll be 100-ish, depending, 100 plus. This is some sort of motorcycle scooter helmet. This was picked up on Saturday, so was the store's cooler.
Yeah.
Roached inside, solid helmet from the 60s or 70s. The stripe is always a plus. It's got a certain look with the visor. That's going to go to one of these countries that has scooters galore. I paid $5. That'll be 30, 40, 50 plus shipping. Tell me what you got here, Wheeler.
It's a James Romino timer. I'm not 100% sure what it's used for, but I think it's for hotel wake up. It's a hotel wake up clock. It pretty much tells the guy at the front desk which room and what their thing is. It could be used for multiple different things, I assume.
Yeah, I'd like to know exactly what all these markings on there, because I mean, they don't really necessarily coincide to room numbers. They
12,
they
1,
could,
2, 3, but
hard to decipher what's going on there.
30 and 45 between each, so 60 minutes.
We'll have to look it up.
Each hour.
Yeah, it's
I don't know.
some kind of, it could be some kind of an event timing clock too. It's something neat about it. We didn't pay a lot. I don't remember.
We got $10.
10 or 15, yeah.
The guy we bought it from said it was a hotel thing. But who knows?
Well, yeah, and people don't always know.
Nope.
They just, sometimes people tell them, and who knows.
Exactly.
Sometimes they brainstorm too.
Yeah.
Like we do. A couple of tip trays, don't know. 30 for both. Might not make any money on those, but I bought them from a guy that needed the money more than we did to keep his store open. Oh, you probably have seen my new in box, hopefully. Cassette player, camera, just picked that up, right?
Yep. I haven't seen one before.
What about this here? Cup stacker.
Super cup stacker, yeah.
We don't know if there's a timer in there. If it is, we may chuck the whole thing except for the timer.
And the cups. The cups will go, well, a lot. They're $15-20 plus shipping.
Most of you have watched my other videos and heard me talk about this. This thing is super cool, 100 years old. If you're watching this...
704, so 1904 maybe? Maybe. Yeah,
that's actually pretty interesting that it's 704. I missed that before.
Yeah, I just noticed.
The cork says 704. Doing some research on this, I've been getting a few emails and help on this. It is authentic, and it's got to be around the turn of the century, around 1900.
Yep.
And this thing here, you can't read it with the camera, but it does say the HD Beach Company, Kasho Tin, comma, and then it's an O, it looks like. And somebody emailed me and said that's one of the things you got to look for on these. And I'll do a little more research on that. Advertising or lithograph company or whatever. Condition on this thing is suspect. I think it's $1,000 piece. I don't think I'll sell it for less than $1,000. I'd have a problem at this point doing that. And I'll just throw that out there. If this is mint, it's, you know, double that, maybe more. There's just nothing out there.
There's none of them out there.
And that's not always good. But with beer stuff, there's a certain small market that
Especially
definitely...
like a mainstream brand like Blatz or something.
Well,
recognizable.
Blatz has a lot of history. 1850s when that started. Valentine Blatz. A lot of history with Blatz. Competing with Schlitz. It's a Milwaukee beer.
Detail, like trademark registered stuff. They really got it.
Oh yeah, there's reflections on there. It's hard to show it all with the lighting and the camera, but the side here is got the most problems, and then the actual lithograph has a lot of interesting
lots of
detail, and it's a kind of it's not a weird scene, but it's an interesting 1900s scene, let's just say that.
It's a fountain.
So what's the red camera there, the Zip?
Yeah, it's a Zip. We have a manual and some other stuff with that, so we'll have to figure out what ended up with that. But
usually cameras that are, will sell for $10-15, if they're in a bright color like that, usually you can double it or more.
Yep. Haven't had one of these in a long time, but
yeah, so we picked it up for next
$40.
to nothing. All right, so I think we were bragging about 100 watches. This doesn't look like quite 100.
Yep. Do you
but
know what the number I was?
well, maybe, you know, sometimes you're breathing all the fumes from the different places.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know if any of you guys realize this when you're out there. We do. We're runners, but you smell a lot of different moldy and musty and different smells going into these places. And I think sometimes when you're in the field, there's a certain high that can be achieved when you're on like Picker's high, caffeine, no sleep, go, and mold and mildew.
Yeah.
Okay, talk about them.
A bunch of different watches here, mostly manual lines, so 1960 and before. A couple newer than that, a couple of quartz. I bought a bunch of lots. I threw out some of the ones that weren't that great. There is some gold in here, literally and figuratively.
Let me ask you a question.
Uh-huh.
Are you worried about fakes in this lot, and why not?
Not really, because we're kind of out in the middle of nowhere.
Right. These watches,
farm fresh.
Yeah, these are farm fresh. These are not like at the flea market, or we've always seen like bags of watches,
Yeah.
and then there's like stands with, you know, 29-cent watches. Fill your whole garbage bag full of watches. These are like farm fresh, which makes them even a little more interesting, right?
Yep.
Okay, go ahead.
I was saying literal gold. These are all right here. These are all 10 karat plus gold.
Yeah.
So,
well,
yeah.
you're going to learn a little bit about precious metals working with
definitely
with watches too.
Definitely some real old ones here too.
Because we don't buy a lot of jewelry.
No, we definitely don't.
And there's certainly there's a jewelry market, and the watches, you know, is a mechanical jewelry.
Yeah, well, these are gold plated or gold filled, so the gold itself is not the
Somebody
big
gave
value.
us their keys and
Key
their
carries,
lighter
the
too
lighter.
in there.
Yeah, I'd say about 60% of these actually work, and out of those probably 80% actually keep good time. So
Right.
they're reasonable. Definitely a good learning experience. There's some real good ones in here, though, I have a feeling.
So, for the most part, what would you say the average price per watch we paid?
Oh, well, like $1 or $2 or...
No, because
Per
you
watch.
paid up for some.
I paid up for some. Okay, let's say $4 a watch.
Okay, I was going to say maybe let's just say between 3 and 4, $3.50, something like that. Average selling price, my estimate right off the bat, just listening to you and what you've listed for, probably $30 or more dollars, maybe even $40 or more. What do you think?
Yeah. Well, this one's pretty cool. This is like 1930s.
Yeah.
I'll point out one more here too. This CompuCron, which we picked up a bunch of cheap watches. Well, it wasn't a bunch of cheap watches. We picked up about 30 watches in a big bag lot for $10, and about half of them were really cheap watches.
Like junk.
Yep, but I did see a couple in there, so that's why I picked them up. This one I thought was going to be a cheap one, and I've actually seen a couple of these before, I think. CompuCron. Apparently this is made in Japan. It seemed actually pretty high quality. In 1976 is one of the earliest digital watches, so it's actually a pretty good one.
So shoot me a range, you think?
Say 50 to 100 if it works.
Yeah, so maybe 50
Maybe
bucks.
more, because there's some going for up to 2, but...
Yeah, and a lot of these are in real nice shape. I don't know if this
gold.
goes for anything, but I remember Casios and stuff.
Some of those are a little bit collectible. That one's
people collect
a $20
them.
watch.
Yeah, $20. Mm-hmm. You got a Phillips 66 you mentioned.
That's interesting. It's in pretty poor shape. You need to get a crown for it, and that, but it's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's not a repro or
No, it's a
anything though.
1950s or 60s advertising watch.
And look at that, it says
Yes, TBA sales.
Yeah, sales. It's kind of a neat
Yep.
watch.
I found a couple of them. They're going in working shape for probably $70, and in part shape like that, 20 or 30.
Okay, so I've already seen that you've listed a few of these. One was $100 and things like that.
Is that
So
here?
okay.
It should still be running in there. It's an Ernest Borel automatic. It actually has a step-up movement in it, though, like a little bit higher end movement.
So what's the best watch that's left here? If you had to pick one, what would you pick?
If I had to pick one, I'd say it's Elgin, but I really don't know.
Okay.
I haven't looked them all up yet.
All right. So here's the last question about watches. Is this going to interfere with your camera work?
I'd say minorly. If anything's going to focus me, it's a little bit of incentive to list something fun for once, you know.
Fun for once. Cameras are no longer fun,
No,
right?
they're fun. I'm joking.
Oh my goodness.
No, it's a little bit fun though.
I'm a little.
Around with them.
I'm not to go off on a tangent. I'm a little concerned here that Wheeler likes to spread himself too thin. What can you do? I'm trying to get one of my other kids to buy into the watch idea. I would love to have them train on watches, but you know how that goes. It's a give-take thing. we'll see if we have any takers.
Yep.
Anything else on watches?
I got into it because I started kind of like personally collecting watches, so that's the whole watch thing recently.
Well, there's money to be made here.
Cool ones, too.
And they're mechanical, and they're fun, and there's 1,000 different kinds. So why not?
Got a couple of pocket watches, probably not worth anything. Pocket watches, just they're a dime a dozen as far as I can tell.
I mean, I'm supporting your interest in them 100%.
Yep.
Okay. But the other concern I have, and I don't mean to, throw you under the bus. Somebody said I'd like to throw you under the bus. I've got 300 lenses that we just bought in the office that are, retail listed at $30,000. And so your new watch habit makes me a little nervous because I'd rather have that stuff listed.
I'm working on it.
I know, Aaron. I know. I'm not mad. I'm not mad. I'm just concerned.
Yep, I get it.
Catch two rabbits. Can't do it. Okay, so this is a Cox. You all done with that?
Yeah. Just playing around with them a little bit now.
Okay, I'll come back to you because there's a couple more things here. This is a Cox radio-controlled dune buggy. They usually were motorized with a gas motor. It's pretty beat. It's a body. It's a parts car, whatever. I paid $5. This I really, Wheeler found this too. It's ceramic and it hangs off to one side. It's a real neat exit sign.
Sure, it's ceramic and not glass because there's actually wiring for a light in there.
What's the difference between ceramic and glass? I mean,
glass you can see through.
Well,
light can go through it, isn't it?
No, ceramic can be
okay.
Opaque, and there's some other words.
Might be.
Don't know what it's
has
worth.
Wiring for a light in there, which I thought was kind of cool.
Old calculators, Texas Instrument in the box, always good. Clanky, the chocolate flavored syrup guy, I got for $2. I just thought he looked like a robot and was cool. They thought he went for 20, and then they still sold it to me for 10. These radios we've talked about, I still haven't tested them. Couple nice belt buckles. I always pick some up. Firefighters is alright. Snap-on's always pretty good. Oddball things like skateboarding and BMX and things like that are really good, especially if they're vintage. This motorcycle one, I've had good luck with oddball motorcycle ones. This one has got some condition issues, like it's been retonged and it's missing that. It's still going to go for some money. Somebody will repair that. And then the Guess one, haven't had a chance to look up the promo car. I think Banana Peeler said 40 to $100 is what this particular one's going for. Budman's always cool. That's a sticker for $1. Fast Tracks.
Supposedly a pretty good one. I'm not entirely sure because I don't know a lot about
Tyco made mid-range, what I call mid-range consumer level, radio controlled. Some of them are collectible. I don't know how old this one is on a collectible
80s or something
scale. It's missing the bottom part here.
Yep.
There's almost a date. U.S. patent. No.
They're right here on the side, but that sticker's gone.
Yeah, so we paid a couple bucks because it was wet. As a parts vehicle, untested, if we can't test it at all, it's still going to be $30.
Yeah, I think so. That's an odd one.
Somebody will want to work on it.
Going for up to 200 with the charger and everything.
I saw the Zenith sign. Now the Zenith sign was a Saturday stop, and so was the exit sign. So were a bunch of the watches.
Yeah, about half of them.
And let's see what else. I think the Trax was too.
Budman sticker.
Yeah.
Guess belt buckle.
So the Zenith light actually led to a discussion about beer signs, and the guy has one on our track up to where we're going on Wednesday. Hopefully going to hook up with him and get it. It's a Goats, Getz. What's their brand?
Getz.
Yeah, but what's
their Country Club. Yeah.
Country Club beer. And I can't tell how vintage it is. It's, at least 20, 30 years old, but it's hard to exactly tell. It looks like it's in pretty good shape. It's big. The word when we started looking it up is that in St. Joseph, Missouri, they're starting up the Goats Country Club brand again in the old factory.
In the old brewery, at least what's left of it.
Right, so who knows,
2017 sometime.
17 is supposed to be opening. We'll watch for that.
Yep.
Well, talk a little bit about these cameras. Now, just like everything here, if you've watched our picking videos, you got scans of all these things. What Now that you had a chance to look these over, unpack them, what do you think here? Nobody saw this one. These
No.
are always cool. What is that?
That's a Yashica 44. It's a baby. It's in gray.
Gray's a good color.
Neck strap is a little bit worse for wear, but these are actually pretty desirable too. But
Looks pretty good condition overall.
yeah, it's okay.
$20, right?
Yep.
And so $20 to at least what, 1 1/4?
At least $100 in
Yeah.
not working shape.
Yeah.
So anyway, I was going to mention this one guy in the comments. Not quite a question and answer, but I'm going to address this here. He asked, "Are wet cameras still workable / still worth picking
Yeah,
up?"
it wasn't a guy. It was a lady.
Oh, okay.
I believe she's from Arizona or some
Yeah, I just saw that earlier.
warm climate.
But anyway, the deal with cameras and water is like really old cameras and also electronics. It sort of applies there, just as long as you really let them dry out, and that for the most part they'll be okay.
What do you mean? What do you mean about really old?
Well, pre
Electronics.
yeah, like
pre
1990. So.
Okay, so pre tight electronic microelectronic stuff.
Yeah, most of the mechanical stuff, and even some of the electronics, if you really let them dry out for a long time.
Right, and how do
These
you
would be
let them dry out? You got to take them all apart,
Mm-hmm.
and you got to get them so they drip dry. Any electronics that you turn on when they're wet, you can fry them, right?
Well, absolutely, yeah. You short circuit it. If they're really wet, you can put on a bag of rice. But that's more
Right.
for phones or something. But anyway.
So these don't even have electronics.
No, not really. This one has light meter, and light meter, but other than that.
So the water will do some damage. What will it do?
It can cause, like, mold and must, and sometimes it can kind of stiffen some of the stuff in there if it
Yeah.
rusts it, but that's basically it. If just as long as you let it dry and it wasn't wet for, like, a long period of time, it's not rusted, it'll be fine.
These look like they got rained on.
Yeah.
Heavy rain the night before.
Should you look through the little lens element there? Now, actually, a little bit of haze in there. It's not that bad.
So we need to freeze it.
Well, yeah. Well, freezing won't do much, but yeah.
So it can damage them a little bit. There can be some cleanup. Some cameras that have been wet and dry and wet smell so musty that you can never get it out of the leatherette or whatever.
So just as long as it's recently wet, I guess is what it comes down to, and you dry them out completely.
And you might be able to save it, but you have to play around with that. You have to do some research online. You have to. What are you doing?
I think it's falling apart here. This one went out. These went last time. Gosh, it's coming down.
Whoa, man!
Yeah.
What?
Notice our light is diminishing. Seems to be completely pitch black in here. We can't even get out.
I think I'll replace them. I have some new ones. So in this particular case, we can probably salvage them.
Yep.
And what helps with these is they're good cameras.
Yeah. And this is another example. This is an example of electronics that you can allow to dry out, which I have to look in the lens on that. I guess there's no lens release.
Can you pop it open as much as possible and let it dry?
Well, pretty much just as long as you let it dry for a good week and a half, that should be plenty in a reasonably dry environment, of course.
But you can help that if you open all the things that open in
there's
there.
nothing really that opens. It's like that.
Isn't there a battery compartment?
Nah. Well, it's just on the back. So anyway, then you can put a battery on it and hopefully it works.
And if not, we didn't spend a lot.
Yeah.
So these are the banners that I got. They're Fat Tire Amber. They're real quality banners with grommets. Got the Fat Tire can on it. You know, I don't know if I buy these or whatever. They're nice enough to go for $20-$30 plus shipping.
Yep.
Okay, what are these? Leica.
I was going to point those out. Those are kind of interesting. I have a set of 3 of them here, and they have the banners. I think this one says 1956 to 1961, 1950 to 1952, and 1952 to 1955. So I guess it's a whole set. But basically what these are the Leica photography magazines, which is just a whole bunch of them here. These are probably sold at the end of a certain run. Leica had them running in their magazines. Buy our full magazine set if you missed any of them. Right here, whatever.
Now they're almost 60 years old.
Yep. The really interesting thing about these is that they have the Leica photography binders with them. That's the big money there.
Yeah. So I don't remember what we paid. 15?
Yeah, 20 for
20.
all 3. Yep.
20 for all 3, and then you had to take those books down there.
Yeah.
And we figured these are probably $50 times 3.
Yep. Depending on how musty they are or whatever. They seem to be in pretty good shape.
Yeah, I don't smell them from here. I'm not going to get right.
On the inside of the cover they look a little bit.
Yeah.
Not too bad.
I don't smell it.
No.
A lot of times when it's really bad, you can smell it from feet away.
Anything
Okay.
like this is pretty neat.
So that's really our haul. What could we have done different? I don't know. The 2 You with me?
Yep.
You sure?
Yeah.
Because I'm about to ask you a question based on what I'm saying here. So the two places that we go in September like this regularly are the treasure hunt on Highway 36, which we just did here. Mm-hmm. And then this week we're heading out to Nebraska to the junk jaunt.
Yeah.
Do you remember why we say they're really different?
Well, it's because they're in two different areas. Because one is rural and then one is really, really rural up in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah, on this one we used to do more of the rummage sales, and so we used to find a lot of bread and butter. Since then we've learned to get a little bit off the beaten path and buy a few more, I think, of the high-end things.
Yeah.
Okay, this is what I'm working.
I'm just saying, I was hoping this one worked, and it didn't work before, and now it seems to be working.
Okay, kind of what I'm working with here.
I like wrap watches now, man.
Wheeler, if you don't know, gets distracted easy. He's in his own little watch world over there, and it's okay. It's just the way it is. No big deal, right?
Yep. Right.
Are you in your own little watch world?
Yeah.
Yeah. So Highway 36 traditionally was a little more bread and butter and more rummage sales and things like that. A lot of good like 90s electronics and newer stuff. We got off the beaten path this time and picked up a few higher end things. Typically, the junk jaunt up there, we find a lot of cool stuff from the 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s. The land that time forgot up there. Now, we've beaten the bushes up there quite a bit over the last 3 or 4 years, but every year we go, we know a little bit more. Every year we go, we buy bigger things, more long shots, and so ought to be a lot of fun.
Yep, absolutely.
Anything out there? You know what? Let me guess what you're going to be looking for.
I wonder. Cameras, watches,
cameras and watches.
Skateboards? I don't know.
And when I say that with a little sarcasm, I mean it lovingly. I just, everybody knows that watches us. We have two different personalities. That's just it. Plus, I'm kind of a grumpy old ass. I promise tomorrow I'm going to sleep almost all day, so I'm super fresh. Today I'm winded again because it was a big packing day. Almost caught up. Okay, I got to go book hotels and get our travel plans situated. Final thoughts, Wheeler? Anything?
Nope.
I'm going to go point at BP. BP, Banana Peeler, is in here this week. We took a week off school. My wife is still teaching and doing a short week with the kids. I decided that I could not do these two events and try to do a week of school in 2.5 days. It just wasn't going to work, so we'll have to make that up another week. BP, got anything going?
Just listing.
Belt buckles. We sold one of your John Deere belt buckles today for $26 plus shipping.
Yep.
So you got a few more to list, looks like.
Mm-hmm.
Sounds good. Now you're going on the trip to Nebraska with us. You excited?
Yep.
Looking for anything in particular?
Not really.
Well, make your list. I know your mom wants a shower curtain, which is kind of weird, but she liked a certain shower curtain, and we brought her, I guess, that same pattern after the other one got worn out, and she was delighted. So I don't know what to I guess that's what we're looking for. Oh, let's see what else is going on. I think that's it. So that's the Picking Hall show tomorrow. I'm going to be doing quite a bit of organizing to get out of town again. I'm sure there'll be orders. I'm running sale today and tomorrow to get our orders done. Then I'm going to slow everything down. I'm not going to stop our auctions. I'm going to run them, but I won't run any sales. Be a lot of orders, I have a feeling, by the time we get back. So this whole shoot has to be cleared again. I guess there was quite a bit of hail damage last week. Thursday, the day I put the Jeep in, and then it hailed an hour later. So I got to put the Jeep in there again, which means it's got to fit. And whatever else I have to do tomorrow, who knows? Sleep most of the day. Uh-oh.
Look at one of these watches in here.
Oh, so scattered.
That's a good one right here.
I think I was scattered when I was 17 too.
Back in the 50s, super thin watches were in. This is the Ulster Ultra Thin, made in Switzerland. One in a lot worse shape and really beat up, but it works. Went for like 35 plus shipping at auction, so I think that's a $100 one.
There you go.
So there's a score.
There you go. I love them. It's just challenging. It's just challenging. Challenging. Okay. That's about it. Appreciate you watching. I've been reading through all your comments over the last week. I'm hoping to have replied to some of them or most of them by the time this video hits. My internet's so fast now though that I put this video on there and boom, within the hour it's up, which is awesome. No more stress there until I go on the road. Okay, so life isn't linear. I don't know if I'll keep saying that. Nobody said they like it or hate it. Life isn't linear. My life isn't linear. My wife, hi Lon, she watches every show. She wishes my life was linear. I wouldn't be me then. Picking isn't linear. eBay is not linear. It's 24/7. Pick well, list often. Dealer out.
Hey, Wheeler.
Dealer production.